KSL Outdoors with Adam Eagle is brought to you by your local Ford stores.
Welcome to KSL Outdoors. I'm Adam Eagle. Tonight we're going on an adventure like I've never done before, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people at home have never seen before. What would you do if you were stranded in the middle of nowhere? How would you survive? Could you survive? Tonight we kick off a 7-day survival course as we put our minds and bodies to the test. What better place to test oneself than the wilds of southern Utah? From the crisp, high alpine setting of the Boulder Mountains to the barren, unforgiving deserts of the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, this will be our home for the next 7 days and 7 nights.
You start thinking, like, who would do this? Who would pay to do this to their bodies?
It all started months ago when my buddy Brian LaTurner, my producer Rick Olivares, and I wanted to learn some survival skills. A quick internet search and we soon discovered the Boulder Outdoor Survival School.
Welcome everybody.
The oldest survival school in the nation, and it happens to be right here in Boulder, Utah.
You're going on a field course, and the field course is sort of our backbone. It's the course that it's our flagship course. It's a challenging course physically, emotionally, and also a very educational course with the skills that you learn.
Some of the things that they allow you to bring, how do you say this? It's pretty sparse, isn't it? Yeah. Our gear consists of a poncho, a knife, a small first aid kit, some water purification drops, a wool blanket, a few scarves, a cup, paracord, and luckily, a change of underwear. There's a lot of things that are not allowed on the course, and they are like sunglasses, we can't wear those, watches, cosmetics, radios, cell phones, pagers, flashlights. No tents, no sleeping bags, no matches, no GPS devices. This is truly roughing it.
It's about a personal challenge and a challenge to the group and a way to grow with this small community that you're with, and a way to discover really a lot of things about yourself. 12 strangers have signed up for our 7-day field course. Our first challenge is a run in downtown Boulder.
It's not a race.
It is a race. He just said, hurry back.
Okay.
Winner.
Here we go. We got a mile and a half.
Turns out, I'm not in as good a shape as I thought.
That wasn't so tough, was it?
Sucked.
If the field course is anything like the run, the 12 of us are in for a long week. B.O.S.S has a reputation of pushing people to their limits, even past their limits. I take a look at my fellow participants and wonder if I might be the first to quit.
My name is Bia Cameron. I am from Lexington, Kentucky, and I am 20 years old right now.
The youngest in our group, Bia, is a college student and a soccer player. She looks to be in great shape.
I am so excited. It's just a motivating thing for me.
Chris is a physical education teacher from California, and at 55 is the oldest. Turns out our group is very diverse. We have a 53-year-old doctor from Kentucky, a 28-year-old nurse from Dallas, a 32-year-old water treatment operator from Canada, a 41-year-old home health care director from Austin, Texas, a 33-year-old CEO from Portugal, and a couple who met in the Air Force and are engaged to be married.
What do your friends and family think about this?
They all think we're a little crazy.
No one signed up to have an easy, relaxing vacation type experience, I hope. Not that you can't have some of that, but there will be challenge, and that's kind of why you're here. So relish that challenge and enjoy it.
Little did we know we were about to lose any control we thought we had, and these 3 instructors will now control our lives.
So this is basically the size of your pack.
We're taught to fold our gear into blanket packs, then just before dark, we are driven to just under 9,000 feet and told to get out. It's time to hike.
Got there, buddy? Yeah. Buddy.
So our adventure begins, minus our blanket packs with all of our gear. B.O.S.S has confiscated those. All that we have is the clothes on our backs, a small 5x5 piece of cloth, 32 ounces of water, and maybe gloves and a hat. It's going to be a long night.
Extremely cold. It's the only way I can really describe it.
After maybe 5 hours hiking by moonlight, we're told to find a place to camp. And soon the only thing to keep us warm is each other. We all soon subscribe to the notion of spooning with strangers.
You have a lot of time to reflect on your life and what you're, that's one of the things that seems like a lot of people come out of the course with, is they get a clarity on their life and what their life is about.
My thermometer reads a chilling 36 degrees. How long was that hike, do you think, tonight?
Probably about 5 miles.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Most of the hike was in the dark tonight, but the moon was sure nice, huh, Rick?
Yeah, it was nice, yeah. Being able to see where we're going.
We're pretty fortunate. It's a beautiful night. The stars are out. People are just bedding down for the evening. Could get a little cold, so that's why we're underneath the tree. So we'll report back in the morning. But first, tonight's quiz question. For the next 7 days, our group will hike some 50 miles through the wilds of southern Utah. We'll have plenty of water, but consume only about 1,500 calories per day. It's the survival mantra at B.O.S.S that advises people to eat to live, don't live to eat. So our question tonight is, how long can the average human live without food or water? The answer's next up when KSL Outdoors, powered by Ford, returns.
KSL Outdoors is also brought to you by Fish Tech Outfitters, Goal Zero, Utah State Parks and Recreation, the Division of Wildlife Resources, Burt Brothers, Sportsman's Warehouse, Evanston, Wyoming, and Camp Chef.
Welcome back to KSL Outdoors. I'm Adam Eagle. That was the coldest I've been in a long time. That story in just a moment, but first, tonight's answer to the quiz.
Our question tonight is, how long can the average human live without food or water? And here's the answer. There are many factors that go into how long a human can survive without food or water. Medically speaking, most doctors agree that healthy humans can live between 4 to 6 weeks without food as long as they have plenty of water, and can live between 3 to 5 days without water, assuming they are in reasonable shape and are in ideal conditions, that is, not in the heat or cold and not exercising.
That's it, it was cold last night.
I about froze to death is what happened last night.
Not very restful, you know. I think I slept maybe 10 minutes.
I didn't sleep. My toes are frozen. But made it through the night, so can't complain.
After a sleepless night, the glow of a warm sun was a welcome sight. Our instructors
This is basically just what we call a duff bed or debris bed.
show us their accommodations last night, and then we continue the phase of the course called Impact by hiking off the mountain and into the desert.
The hunger pangs started kicking in, and I was just weak.
By midday, we've hiked maybe 10 miles. It's been over 24 hours since any of us have had anything to eat. We stopped for water and for primitive lessons on survival, including how to make a fire with a bow drill. Even though this is a skill we'll need later in the course, some of our party is having a hard time staying awake.
Our mission is basically to preserve primitive and traditional skills and to expose people to those skills and to develop them as people in the outdoors. You don't know what's going to happen, and so we purposely have things that come up that you're not going to be expecting so that you can go through those experiences.
All right, we started when the sun was coming up, and we're still going, and the sun's on its way down.
I think the goal here is to break us, and they're getting there.
How you girls doing? Look like you got a second wind.
Barely. Maybe she does. I think all I can smell is pepperoni pizza. I think I'm meeting God on this trip.
It's crazy. Why did I think I wanted to do this?
It's not necessarily we're trying to just run people into the ground. It's we're trying to help people to see what their limits are so that they can push beyond that and realize that they're capable of so much more than they really think they are.
Now, I'm not going to tell you everything that happened on the course. You might want to try this someday, and knowing what takes place might lessen that experience. What I will tell you is this is one of the toughest physical and mental challenges I've ever done. Some of our group really struggled with this phase, throwing up, nauseous, but they fought through it and gained all of our respect.
Got a little sick back there a little bit ago. They say it's from the water. Oh, I feel a little bit better, but still a little nauseous.
You're not going to quit? No way,
Not quitting. Just maybe the last one making it there.
Good.
but I'm gonna make it.
In the end, we all finished the impact phase and were rewarded with not only food and some rest, but the knowledge that we could hike much more than we previously thought. The question now is, can we translate this experience into the rest of our lives?
I think any time that you can go through a challenge and a struggle like this and get back to the basics, it just reminds you and puts things into perspective of what's important and what's not important, and it's humbling.
So we've got all of our food gathered. Dean's joined our group, and now we're finally going to go eat a steady meal of some oats and some dairy powdered milk and so forth. Cook it up here in our pan, because we're hungry. We'll have more coming up from KSL Outdoors here in a moment, but first let's head back to the guys at Fish Tech for tonight's fishing report.
Hey Alex, I think I'm being a pretty good dad this year. How about a brand new fly rod? I'm Mickey Anderson from Fish Tech and the Fish Tech team with this week's Father's Day gift report. If Dad could use a brand new fly rod, we've got rods starting at $39, complete outfits at $59, and if you think Dad has too many rods, how about a gorgeous looking rack to store them in?
Has Dad filled up all his fly boxes? Come on in and check out some of the new slotted foam designs from Umpqua or SA or even CNF Design, and we can even put together a custom fly selection for dear old Dad.
Sure is sunny out there. Make sure you stay protected. We've got hats starting at $9.99, buffs that can be worn over a dozen ways, and don't forget the sunscreen.
Maybe Dad needs a new net, or maybe he needs an upgrade. Surprise him with something he probably wouldn't buy for himself, a new Ghost net. We have them in all different sizes and prices, and we even have them big enough for a boat.
With so many things to choose from, it can be difficult to decide. How about let Dad decide with a gift certificate? They're available in any dollar amount, and they can be used for anything, including fishing licenses.
For all these smoking hot deals and more, come on down to Fish Tech. And now for tonight's fishing line.
Welcome back to our B.O.S.S adventure. I'm Adam Meikle. This is our wiki up where we spent the night, and we're luckily fortunate enough that B.O.S.S allowed us to bring our Goal Zero powering system here to power up our batteries while we're on the trail. Hey, it looks like we've heading out for another adventure. I think it's a group adventure, so let's go find out what we've got going on.
It's basically broken into some group food that you'll share in a cook group.
After 40 hours and over 20 miles, we're finally getting some rations. Oatmeal for breakfast, nuts and raisins for lunch. For dinner, we'll split 2 onions, 2 potatoes, some rice, lentils, and flour between 4 of us. In all, it's about 1,500 calories per day.
How many people have used a topographic map?
After a quick topo map lesson, the group assigns 3 leaders.
All right, everyone meet back here in about 10 minutes with all your gear.
And then we're back on the trail.
Sort of another open meadow, right?
Right.
So we'll be going just like along this way.
Okay.
This time, however, the hike is only about 5 miles, and we will now lead the expedition as we scout for a nice place to camp. We just broke out of the high country a little bit to the beautiful, spectacular Henry Mountains here in the background. It's turned out to be a beautiful day. Wind's picking up, so hopefully we find a campsite pretty quick. We're taught to use the 5 W's when picking a good campsite. They are water, weather, wildlife, waste, and widowmaker. Finding someplace safe is important. The fact that we are finally setting up camp while there's still daylight means we'll be able to use some of the skills that we've been taught.
If you only have a single tree, or even if there's no trees, you can pitch the ridge line this way.
Some of the groups start building our shelters out of our ponchos. Our beds are built out of pine needles and leaves called duff, and others start making our first dinner in 3 nights.
Just trying to make everything really small so it'll cook fast.
There you go. Just like that.
My job is to make a fire with my newly made bow drill.
Now stop. And now just slowly take your spindle out. Yeah, kind of tip it on its side and stick it underneath here. So it's...
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I think a lot of people probably come into it thinking they're going to be just fending for themselves, and it always turns out that it's really about the group. And working together, and that's the best courses, are courses where the group works together and takes care of each other.
It was really nice to actually have daylight, to be able to see, to build a shelter. You know, now that we actually know how to do that stuff, it's pretty nice. I'm looking forward to sleep. And,
yeah, I am too, actually.
Yeah, not to mention the warm meal. I mean, that was
nice.
amazing.
That was a benefit. Good deal. Well, hey, we're not done here on KSL Outdoors yet. We've got more coming up here from southern Utah. But first, let's dive into tonight's Utah Field Guide as we take a closer look at the Gila monster.
The Gila monster is Utah's largest and heaviest lizard. It is estimated that they only spend about 5% of their life above ground. The rest of the time they seek shelter in underground burrows. As a result, they don't eat often. They may only eat 5 to 10 times a year. Gila monsters are one of only 2 venomous lizards found in the entire world. Very few humans have ever been bitten. The venom causes tissue damage and is very painful, but seldom, if ever, fatal to humans. In recent years, research has shown that components found in Gila monster venom can be very effective in the treatment of diabetes and may also prove helpful to those suffering from Alzheimer's disease or other forms of memory loss. There are many other interesting facts to discover about Gila monsters, and the more you know, the more you will enjoy Utah's wildlife.
We're sitting here at about 8,500 feet on the Boulder Mountains. For the end of May, it's actually pretty nice out here. Pretty nice during the day, pretty cold in the evening, but let's find out that recreation forecast for the rest of the state by turning it over to Kevin back in Salt Lake City. How about it, Kev? Welcome back to KSL Outdoors. I'm Adam Meikle. Hey, don't forget, if you're looking for any outdoor activity in Utah, you can always check our outdoors calendar page at ksltv.com. This week, we want to remind you about the Ducks Unlimited fishing event they're having up at Flaming Gorge. Chance for you to go up there and support the cause, make some bucks for the ducks. Well, Chris, all the way from Chico, California, your camera's been out quite a bit snapping pictures.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. First time in southern Utah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think so far?
It's breathtaking.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I think we all are. Hey, don't forget when you come down to southern Utah to bring your camera, take a picture, and submit it to our contest. Now here it is, the best of the week, our snapshot of the week. We kick it off with this huge cutthroat Jed caught 2 weeks ago on a small creek in central Utah. Jed says he was having a great day catching a lot of 15-inch cookie cutters when he spotted this monster feeding in about 12 inches of water. With a perfectly laid cast, the fight was on. He was amazed when he finally got his hands on the 28-inch long, 8-pound fish. What a brute. A 12-hour drive and a 4 a.m. early morning rising couldn't stop 10-year-old Hannah Smith from getting her first shot at a Sand Hills, Nebraska Merriam's. She passed up several easy shots at some young jakes to get a chance at a big tom. Her dad's friend John called him in and Hannah took care of the rest. An outing she and her dad will never forget. 16-year-old Trevor has put in 2 years of hard fishing trying to match his dad's feat of catching 2 lake trout over 20 pounds. This year, he finally showed the old man up by landing this monster mac at Fish Lake. The Laker tipped the scales at just over 30 pounds. The smile, Dad says, is still on his son's face. Check out the beautiful picture Zach snapped with his iPhone as the ice was coming off the Soldier Creek side of the Berry. Zach said the fishing was a bit slow, but they still had a good time. Looks like the scenery was downright spectacular. But our winner tonight is Mother Nature giving her blessing to a new bride and groom. Kate was photographing a wedding up American Fork Canyon when this doe decided to pose for the picture as well. Kate says the doe wasn't scared, even stayed around for about 10 minutes while she captured the moment. Well, Kate, give our best to the bride and groom, and now you too are getting a wedding gift for having the Camp Chef Snapshot of the Week. Remember, submit your pictures and a brief explanation of your latest outdoor adventures online at ksltv.com. The winner each week will win one of Camp Chef's new innovative products, either the Sherpa Camp Table and Organizer or the 3400 BTU Ranger Stove. Portability and power from our friends at Camp Chef.
Helping you create great memories for over 20 years, whether in the backwoods or your back patio. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
So we're only halfway through our B.O.S.S adventure. Next week, tune in to find out how it all turns out and see how we all finish up. I'm Adam Meikle, reminding you to get out, make some memories outdoors with your family or maybe some newfound friends. Good night.